Okay, so welcome to the Visual Arts webinar session. We've got, I've left myself off as the presenters for today. We'll be going through what visual arts are at Boxel Institute today and what Boxel Institute is and why you should study here. So we'll have a look at that now. Our presenters, by the way, are Chris Pittard. Going to wave, Chris? Miller, Faranoff. We've also got Caitlin O'Brien, who is one of our current students, who'll be joining us today as well, and myself, and I'm Ingrid, the coordinator of visual arts at Boxel Institute. So I'll talk to you about that side of things shortly. Anyway, so today we will look at why study at Boxel Institute, our facilities and our core values. We'll do a little interview with each of the presenters so you understand where they come from, what their art background is, as well as their teaching background. Our teachers are artists, but just as much teachers. It's a lovely combo. We'll talk about the visual arts accredited programs that we offer here, pathways for further study and careers. Caitlin will give you an insight as to what it's like to be a student at Boxel Institute in our visual arts program. She's been with us since Certificate 3 and is now at diploma level. And there will be time to answer your questions. Any questions you have, you can send through questions at any time. And I'll answer them as best I can. If it's something that's relevant to what we're talking about, I'll answer it then and there. Otherwise, I will leave it towards the end and we'll deal with it then. And then we'll go through how do you apply to study at Visual Arts at Boxel Institute. All right, let's move on. All right, do you like that? Throughout this presentation, you'll see artwork by our current students, and you'll just see what level they are. And it's just to give you an idea of the sort of work that we do produce at Visual Arts. Okay, let's go. All right, firstly, Boxel Institute. Who are we? All right, we're big. We're one of the biggest TAFEs, which is Technical and Further Education within Victoria. We've got actually 4 campuses. We have 2 at Box Hill. One is Alga, one is Nelson. We also have a campus way out in Lilydale. And there's also the city, and that's where we're based for visual arts. We offer at Boxel Institute certificates from level 1 through to level 4. We have diplomas, degrees, and we also offer postgraduate courses, not in everything, but in some areas. We're all about learning for work and life. That is what we're on about, working for learning for life as well as for future career development. We have good facilities, I think we do, which are constantly updated, and we try to simulate a work environment for our students. All our staff are industry experienced. That's a really important part about working at Boxel Institute, is that you have that experience and so you're able to teach what actually does go on in that industry. And when you graduate, we hope that you have the skills you need to have really great employment. Moving right along. Okay, so at Boxel Institute, we have a set of values that we try and work towards. Our first one is students at the heart, and that means everything we do is student-centric. It's all about you, the student. That's what we do. And the other aim of the game is to make sure you are getting a quality education. We'll talk a bit about that later. We also try and look for ways to innovate and grow. We look after our staff. We value our people. And we also work across the different areas. So what we call it is leveraging our resources. So if you're studying visual arts, you will be exposed to other programs as well. That's what we try and do. So that's Boxel Institute. We've been going for many, many years. All right, this is just indicating where the locations are of the campuses. As I said, there are 2 at Box Hill, and we're in the city campus in Melbourne. We'll talk a bit about that in a moment. Moving on. All right, that's me. Hello. So as I said, I coordinate the program. My background is actually not visual arts. My background is professional writing and editing, and also travel and tourism, which is kind of bizarre, but there you go. But my main thing is education. That's always where I seem to end up in my career, and it's the thing I'm most passionate about is education. And I love working with this visual arts team, and you'll see why soon. All right, our other guests we have today are Chris. All right, Chris, do you want to introduce yourself, my friend?
Yes, hello everyone. Currently I'm teaching painting and drawing for Certificate 4 and some of the theory and arts business classes and drawing in the diploma course. I started my art studies at RMIT and did a degree course there, and then after that I had a studio in Hardware Lane in the city where I exhibited paintings and I was working away. But after 5 years, I was really craving the company of other students, and also I wanted to be challenged. So I returned to study and went to the Victorian College of the Arts and did a 2-year postgraduate diploma. Since that time, my practice has involved drawing, painting, and ceramics. And so, as Ingrid was saying, we spend 2 days a week teaching. But the rest of the time, I'm in the studio, I'm making art, I'm exhibiting it, and hopefully selling it as well.
Thanks, Chris. Miller.
Oh, hi. Well, I teach at the moment. I teach in Certificate 3, I teach sculpture, and I teach in Certificate 4 in sculpture, and some theory-based classes which involve developing your art practice and looking at the various histories, theories, and movements in visual arts and associated areas. I've also taught drawing, and this semester I'll be teaching a digital art unit as well. So I've got a fairly complicated background, but it's all very creative. I studied visual arts back in the day at a TAFE in Frankston, which was then it's called Frankston TAFE and has now become a Chisholm Institute. I did a diploma of art design, which is very similar to the structure of. Should I mute someone? Sorry. Anyway, yes, I taught. I'm getting confused. I'm sorry, everybody. I studied a TAFE course, and then I went on to do fashion design, which I only completed half of. And then, having discovered sculpture at TAFE, I enrolled at Monash University and did a Bachelor of Arts, majoring in sculpture and minoring in printmaking. When I left school, I ended up combining those skills and becoming a costume designer, and I worked in that industry for roughly 12 years. And at about the age of 35 or 36, I decided to go back into visual arts and re-familiarise myself with that. So I enrolled and got into VCA, Victorian College of the Arts, where I got a postgraduate diploma and a master's in visual art. So that led me into exhibiting again as a visual artist, where I did a lot of sculpture and collage, big installation works. I did that for a few years, and again, I got a bit itchy. So I've just recently completed an associate degree in furniture design, which not only exposed me to some skills that I really wanted to learn in making, but also in CAD, which is computer-aided design, so three-dimensional digital design, sculpting in 3D and modelling in 3D. And these are some of the skills that I've been really excited to share with my students in the past couple of years. And yeah, I exhibit occasionally across a few different realms. I still collaborate with directors, making theatre productions occasionally. So I like to mix it up. That's me.
Thank you, Miller. Lovely. And Caitlin, we'll talk more with Caitlin a little bit later, because we're going to ask Caitlin about her experiences at Visual Arts. But hello to Caitlin. Hello. All right. Okay. So back to our program. As I said earlier, our program is based at our city campus, which is we love our city campus. It's in De Grave Street. If you know De Grave Street, it's right near Flinders Street Station, in that busy cafe area. So it's a very vibrant part of the world. The beautiful thing about it for us as a visual arts school is it's very close to so many galleries and art exhibition spaces. So it's so easy for us to say, right, this afternoon we're going to the Art Centre, or we're going to National Gallery, or one of the many galleries that exist in Flinders Lane and elsewhere in the city. So we're very fortunate as to where we are. For students, it's a bit of a treat, because right in the middle of the city, you've got access to these fantastic art studios. They're really well equipped. They're beautiful, right in the heart of the city. So you can see there's a little map there of where we are, and it literally is a 1-minute walk from Flinders Street Station. There are many times I've done the mad dash with 2 minutes to spare to catch my train, and I've caught it. So there you go. So it's terrific spot there. There is a little photo there. You can see that is actually our diploma art studio. It's a lot neater than that, I would say now. But that's the sort of thing that you'll have experience of when you study with us at the city campus. Okay, moving on. All right, people often ask this question, but what are visual arts? There are many things, many things. But at Boxel, we do focus on some core ones, and that is drawing. Now, drawing underpins everything we do in visual arts. Painting, we do a lot of painting. We have sculpture, we have printmaking, we also do digital imaging. Our real goal here is to give you lifelong learning skills. And as our teachers showed, they keep learning. They don't stop. We don't stop. I don't stop. And that's the whole idea of visual arts, that you've got it for life and you keep building on these skills. And I love that painting there by Natasha from Cert 3. Very happy face there, and I hope visual arts makes you feel like that. Moving on. All right, so what do we offer at Boxel Institute? We have 3 accredited programs. Now, accredited means you get a qualification. All righty, so government funding, accredited programs. We have our entry-level Certificate 3, we have Certificate 4, and we also have Diploma. All righty, so just there, a couple of different works again by some of our students. So what is Certificate 3? This is an interesting program. It's our biggest program. Full-time goes for 1 year. We also have flexible part-time options as well. As it stands, look, with the COVID situation, this is a little fluid at the moment, but we usually have 2 days of face-to-face practical classes for digital painting, sculpture, printmaking, and digital imaging. So we look at all those skills. We also have some theory, but not too much at Certificate 3 level. We'll leave that for a little bit until you get higher up. We are going to be delivering theory remotely, regardless of what happens with COVID. We still will be delivering the theory remotely for Certificate 3, but that's like an hour and a half a week. So it's not a huge part, but it's there for us. And it's really important theory. We'll talk about that soon. There's 2 intakes per year. We have an intake in February and another one in July. Alrighty, so we've got one coming up shortly, starting in the week of 13 July. And so who is Certificate 3 really focused or aimed at? It's anyone, actually. Anyone starting out with their art or coming back to their art. So we get a real mix of students at Certificate 3 level. I'm going to ask the teachers to expand a bit more on Certificate 3 because they're my experts. So Chris, how would you define the Certificate 3?
Well, I think both Certificate 3 and Certificate 4 are really skill building courses. And many people start with us with Certificate 3 and then move through to Diploma. And as you travel on that journey, you gain skills and then slowly get a sense of who you are as an artist. So hopefully in Diploma, you have an opportunity to really expand on it. But Certificate 3, most of the people who come to us, some of them have done perhaps painting, but they've never done printmaking or sculpture. So it is, even if you're quite good at painting, it's still a good course to do because you get to really, it's a taster. You get to really find out about all different processes and build those skills, which will put you in a good position for when you want to kind of expand on your own work. Mostly Certificate 3 and Certificate 4 are project-based, so in order to learn those skills, we as teaching staff are offering you a set of problems to solve, really, and we go through it like that.
Gorgeous. Mills, do you want to expand on anything Chris mentioned?
I think Chris well. Can I just ask that you guys mute your mics because I'm getting a super amount of feedback and I can't. Sorry. No, I think it's true. What Chris said about problem solving, that's definitely project based, I guess I would call it, and that way you get to think outside of your usual go-to thought. So people might come with a particular idea, say to sculpture or to painting, where they believe it's one way or it's a way that they've been used to doing. So we endeavour to expose people to different ways of thinking or approaching ways of making art. I would say that's a really big thing of certificate 3 and 4, having your horizons broadened, and then things get focused when we move to diploma. So, yeah.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, it's a place of safety too to explore, and I think a lot of people, they find that when they come to certificate 3, they're often very nervous. They think they're not good enough, and that's not what we're looking at. We're not looking at how good you are. We're looking for improvement. We're helping you build your skills and to give you confidence. So it's that whole learning to be confident in what you do and learning to explore and to innovate. That's really what we start off with Cert 3 in a safe environment. Caitlin, would you say you started in certificate 3? What was your experience like?
Well, because I started mid-year enrollment, so I only got sort of half.
We've lost Caitlin. She's frozen. All right, we'll come back to Caitlin a little bit later on. Okay, so moving on. So again, Cert 3 is a perfect place to start if you don't know where to start. If you're unsure about your skill level or where you fit, what have you, one, just give us a call and we'll help you with that decision making. There's no need to give us a portfolio. You don't have to submit a portfolio for certificate 3. If you do want to, because you want to see at what level you're at, by all means you can, but you don't need to for certificate 3. It's really, it's your first step into visual arts, and we do get a really mixed group of people in Cert 3. We try and keep the classes fairly small so you get plenty of teacher-student interaction. Oh, she's coming back. She's coming back, but we can't hear her. Can you say something?
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yes, we can. Great. Welcome back,
Of course,
Caitlin.
the internet cuts out the second that you ask me a question.
Yeah, so Caitlin, do you want to just go over your experience of certificate 3?
Yeah, so I don't know what you heard, but I said because I enrolled mid-year, but it was good. Sorry, I can't remember what I was saying. I got very distracted by that. Yeah, because I hadn't done any art before in high school, so I went into it really not knowing what like studying art was and stuff. So it was a really good like introduction to it all. Definitely. Like I hadn't done printmaking, I hadn't done sculpture, I hadn't really even painted that much. Like I would draw in my room, and like that's where I started. So yeah, it was really good to, yeah.
Was it what you expected, or was it different?
I didn't really have any expectations like particularly, but it was good enough that I'm still doing it now, you know, so it was a good choice.
Thank you, Caitlin. All right. Okay, so we'll have a look at certificate 4 too. Or did you want to say something else?
I just thought I'd ask Caitlin what she felt about the workload in certificate 3 and whether it was manageable for you who hadn't done it before.
Yeah, I think it was, because it was definitely a lot of work, but I think overall like it's like doable to do like full time if you like can and stuff. Yeah, and because I'm a person who struggles with like too much work, but it's like it's a challenge, but it's enough. Yeah.
Did you feel like you had enough support though when you felt like you were being maybe possibly a bit overwhelmed?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, good. And in terms of, just because people often ask us this, how much work outside of class did you feel you had to do to stay on top of your studies?
I don't know how much it was sort of back then, but now it's because it sort of gets a bit more work outside of school as you like go forward. But I think you have to put in like a good amount of time, but it's not like unreasonable.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right.
Would you say, Kate, depends on your commitment levels? Like if you really want to, it really depends how committed
definitely.
you are. Yeah,
like you could potentially do it all in class. Like if you're focused in there, you can do it all there. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we do try and get you to start understanding time management and things like that, which is a really important skill in any role that you do. But with visual arts, yes, it really is dependent on how much you want to put into it. mean, the more you put in, the more you will improve, but we're not unreasonable, I don't think, with our expectations at Certificate 3. All right, so just moving along, and look, hopefully as you're seeing with the artwork that we're showing, we do a pretty huge variety of art. We do try and get you to really explore, and you're not going to get stuck in a rut in one particular style. We will push you out of that style just to try new things. It's really important to become confident in your skills. Now, Certificate 4 is also 1 year full-time. In fact, all of our qualifications are 1 year full-time, but they also all have part-time flexible options, all right? So if you can't study full-time, you let us know what can you do. You check, have a look at the timetable, and we can be flexible most of the time. There are sometimes it's not so easy, but most of the time we are pretty flexible. Certificate 4, the main difference between Certificate 3 and Certificate 4 is that coming into it, we expect you to have some skills already in visual arts. So it is portfolio. We need to see a portfolio of work before you start, just to make sure you're coming in at the right level. We don't want to set you up to fail. We want to set you up to succeed. So we're not going to put you to Cert 4 unless we feel you're going to be okay at that level. Often you've already done a Certificate 3 in visual arts. Most of our Cert 4s are people who did Cert 3 or another form of art or design. You've done something in the field. Sometimes you haven't got a qualification, but you've worked in visual arts or some creative field before, so you've got those skills already there happening. We do have more theory we start to introduce at this stage, because we want you to start thinking about history and culture and how that influences art and how you're influenced by it. So we will introduce more of that at this stage. So it's about 1 day per week of theory and 2 days of prac. I'll get Mills to talk a bit more about the theory in a moment, because it's not theory as you know theory. It's quite different from what you probably did in high school. Like Cert 3, 2 intakes per year. We have an intake in February and July as well. And again, the next Cert 4 does start in the 13th of July, the week of 13 July. Again, so we'll talk about that later. And what else can I tell you? That's about it in terms of the structure of it. We will look at painting, drawing, sculpture, and printmaking. We don't actually physically study digital imaging in Cert 4, which is, photography and digital programs, but there are a lot more digital programs that get bled into the courses as well, because you don't just learn traditional art skills, you're also learning the digital arm of it as well. So again, we're getting you ready for the future of being an artist, so you're getting those future skills. Chris Mills, what do you want to talk a little bit about? Cert 4 is really interesting.
I'll just say a couple of things. I think what Ingrid said before is really important to understand, is that although these are skill building courses, the very last thing we would want is for everyone to be turning out identical work. So you will be learning skills, but we encourage you to work in the way that you like to work. We certainly don't want a school style or to look around a classroom and have identical work. That's the first thing. The second thing is, certainly in painting and drawing, it's also an opportunity to introduce a few more ideas, as well as learning how to mix the colors and use the equipment, etc., etc. We start to look at how we can communicate narrative and ideas. So that's probably, for me, the bigger difference with Cert 3 and Cert 4 is that the paintings and drawings are a little bit more complex, as well as the actual technical side. The idea side's much more complex.
I muted myself. Miller, would you like to expand on Cert 4?
Okay, well, I'll start with sculpture. So in Certificate 3, we sort of do some foundation building where people get introduced to just working in a three-dimensional realm, which is something that a lot of people haven't really explored that much in my experience. And we slowly start to introduce projects that revolve around applying skills. So in Cert 4, I would just say it gets a little bit more sophisticated. One of the first things we do in Certificate 4 is actually look at a traditional actual skill, which involves perhaps a bit more experience in drawing and looking at things in real life. So we do a study of the human form, specifically a portrait, which is also known as a bust. And then we also look at more contemporary ideas around sculpture and applying those things to real life. So we look at digital sculpting. We also look at applying for commissions, so doing model making to apply for public sculpture, and considering space and environment and social themes and things like that, where people can actually apply those skills to real life situations of perhaps getting funding to make work. In terms of art theory, it's not perhaps so much a historical lecture-based program where people sit down and just listen to somebody like myself talking about the beginning of art in itself in history, but more people applying their own interests and researching things that interest them and applying those newfound knowledges to making artworks and just expanding on their own field of interest, as well as looking at history broadly. So it's really about learning a really vital skill as an artist, which is to explore ideas and themes that you're interested in to contribute to your own art practice. So that's where I would put theory, more or less. Does that make sense? Yeah, so really using skills or learning skills to continuously develop your own art practice. That's how I would put Cert 4.
Yeah, I would say Cert 4 student kind of differs a bit from the Cert 3 student in that they're actually getting pretty serious about their art, and they're starting to think, it's almost like they're starting to think, I think I could make it as an artist, as a career. And we do notice that with the students. And Caitlin, how about you? You did the whole Cert 4 program beautifully. How did you find the Cert 4 journey? It wasn't always straightforward for you, was it, Cert 4?
Yeah, I mean, I think in hindsight, Cert 4 was really good. I really liked it. I think that the theory was like really like enriching and like something I still like go back to, and like because I struggled with sculpture a bit at times, so I look back and I'm like, I loved sculpture. I miss sculpture. Like it was really good. So yeah.
What was it that you struggled with in terms of when you said you struggled?
I think I just I didn't have like the confidence in like my ideas and stuff, because I was still like, it's I don't know how to phrase it, but like just like because you get given a project that you've like not thought about, and it's really good to like think about and like try and like problem solve, but like in the moment it can be like kind of confronting to like when like I'm like I don't like my idea, but like in hindsight I look back and I'm like I did things that I really liked, and I learned things. Like I did like a found object sculpture, and like that was one of my favorite things like I've done. And yeah, so
I think Caitlin had a lot of ideas. Caitlin was just prolific with ideas, and yeah, I think you could have gone with all of them, but you just would come up with one and then go, oh no, I want to do another one. So, but that's a good thing. You just probably didn't have the time period to kind of work with.
But I think also it's confronting to put your ideas up to a group of students and your teacher for feedback. Now that's something I think most students struggle with from day one, and by a diploma you can't stop yourself. You're doing it. Even the shyest little petal will be out there showing their work to each other. That's a really big thing in our courses, is getting you to step out from your little box and show your work to others and get that feedback. Because often what we perceive, and we're highly critical of our art, we are, yeah, let others have a look at it too, and gain confidence from that as well. So that's a really important part, and we do that in all our courses. We will always get you to share your work, and feedback is part of the assessing. It is confronting, but it's for me as an educator, I find it the most important part. That's where I see people really grow with it. It's really important. And make you brave. Get you brave. Get you out there. Anything else about? Yeah. Chris, over to you.
I was just going to add to that and say that it's actually, I think we all find it really difficult to talk about our own art or talk about other people's art. So it's a kind of gentle introduction to that. And you will find with contemporary art, you're asked constantly to be writing artist statements or verbalizing ideas. and it often doesn't come naturally to people to talk about it. So by introducing it at all these levels means that you get a chance to have a practice.
Yeah, and again, also giving feedback to others as well. That's a real skill. Again, a skill that you'll take for the rest of your life, and we help you with that to understand what's fair. You've got to be fair with your feedback and back it up, and don't make things personal. And we help people with that too. And I've seen that people really blossom with that, learning to give feedback as well as take feedback. It's a really important part. All right. So in terms of pathways, I kind of missed that a little bit. So when you finish Cert 3, you tend to pathway into the Cert 4. Like I said, most of our students in Certificate 3 will go to Cert 4. Some will not. They'll go into another form of study. Or some at the end might think, okay, I've done my visual arts, done with it. But most will go on to Cert 4. And from Cert 4, most will go on to Diploma, because by the end we tend to find they've got the bug, that this is what they want to do, and they want to keep going with it. So we'll have actually, while the image is up there, just to give you an idea too, when we look at art, we're not just looking at the final piece. We want to see the planning behind as well. As part of your assessing, you'll also be required to show us your reflections, your processes, what you did to get, where did your ideas come from? And normally that's in the form of a visual journal. There's other ways we assess as well. But that's the sort of assessing that we do as well. So you will need to show us your planning that goes in, as well as the final pieces that you produce. So that's part of our assessing too. Moving on to Diploma. This is the one we hope you're aspiring to. When you start your Cert 3 and you start thinking, oh, I really like this, aspire for Diploma. I encourage students to go and have a look at the Diploma studio, because you get your own space at Diploma to go and see what the Diploma students are doing. And also talk to them, because most of them were Cert 3, and you'll think, oh my God, they're so good, I'll never be that good. Talk to them. They'll tell you, you will be that good. We'll help you. Like the other two, it's also a 1-year full-time course, and we have flexible part-time options as well. It's also 2 days of practical classes, face-to-face practical classes, and a day of theory-related classes too. So at Diploma level, you get your own studio space, which is pretty brilliant. Do you enjoy that, Caitlin? Your own studio space? Admittedly, for the last couple of weeks, we haven't been able to use it. Thank you, COVID. But that's coming back, hopefully. But that studio space is open to students Monday to Friday from 8 till 5:30. When you haven't got a class, you just go in there, you've got your own area, and you can, it's permanently set up for you. No other groups use that room. It's our space. And it's a really lovely feeling of being a self-motivated artist, having your own studio space. We also do an end-of-year exhibition for Diploma students, which is a big celebration of work. It's always lovely to see all the work at the end of year. We only do 1 intake per year for Diploma, and that's in February. There's no mid-year for Diploma, just in February. Now, who does the Diploma? Well, it's people have already got some formal studies behind them, and a fairly strong set of skills in visual arts that they've picked up along the way. And you must submit a portfolio to be accepted into the Diploma. All right, again, we don't want you to get in there and then freak out on us. You think, oh, there's no way I can do this. We want to make sure you go in with a good, strong set of skills that you can really build on and increase your confidence. All right, so, and over to the team to talk a little bit more about the Diploma.
I'll go. Or no?
Okay, you go.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, me. I taught in Diploma, not this year, but I have taught in Diploma previously. I've worked at CAE for 10 years actually now, so been all across the place. What I think with Diploma, it's really important to know is that it's the chance for you to really, as a student, really take that step into being an artist. Everyone is expected to be able to self-direct at Diploma level, so you're not set projects in that sort of really specific way as you have been in Cert 3 and Cert 4. Basically, you're asked to sort of put together a body of work instead of separate pieces where there's maybe a thematic or material or conceptual sort of unification of what you produce by the end of the year, especially in terms of painting or printmaking, and possibly I think even in drawing. I don't know, but I think that's true. So students will be asked often to come up with a proposal. So that's where you might think about what you'd like to explore over the course of the year. I wouldn't say that that is something that is fixed in stone. It's something that is a flexible thing, but it's basically you create your own launching pad to create work for the year towards an end of year exhibition. That's how I've understood diploma and experienced it as a teacher. There you go. How about you, Chris?
Well, I teach the theory in diploma, and theory at diploma level is a little bit more involved. We have kind of professional practice, which hopefully gives you basic business skills to go on and continue on, sustain a ongoing career in the arts, because we've just finished a unit on sustainability, which has really involved us looking at all the different strategies that we can put in place to enable everybody to keep making art into the future. So there's a number of business and theory subjects, and they vary from learning about contracts and copyright to strategies to sustain your practice, to art history, which perhaps is a little bit more like a traditional lecture-based class, but mostly with the art history, we start with what was happening with postmodernism, what is it that they didn't like about modernism. So we start with modernism, we work our way through until contemporary art, and it's much more about looking at why things happen, because art isn't in a bubble, and people are responding to the world around them, the politics, economics, and other art. So we look at the responses people have and what's generated different ideas, and always with the idea that this can enrich your own arts practice. And right through, in fact, all three qualifications, we encourage people to do, even if you're part-time, to do theory and practical classes, because they can inform the practical classes, and hopefully people come away after a year of theory and diploma feeling that it's relevant to their art practice and their future art practice.
Yeah, I think they start to see what they like and build upon it, which is really lovely to see. For diploma students as well, when you finish diploma, pathways that we look at, I mean, a lot will go on to higher education. We have a direct pathway with Deakin with their Bachelor of Visual Arts. Yeah, we do. But, you know, there's other students, our students go everywhere, to be honest. A lot go to RMIT, who has a very big fine arts area. Where else do we go? I've got a mental blank, Victorian College of the Arts. Quite a few go there, some to Swinburne for more animation type work, and yeah, but we tend to go all over the place. But also a lot of students, when they get to end of diploma, they don't want further education. They actually want to start their business as an artist. So they tend to step out, or they might go in a completely different avenue. We have many options. So Caitlin, my sweet, you're in diploma right now.
Yes.
How's it going?
Going good.
Excellent. That's great. Is that all you want to say?
No, I'll say more. But what do you want me to say about it? Like,
how are you finding it compared to the other two qualifications?
I think it's definitely different. Like, it's a lot more like self-directed. You like feel that a lot. It's like, especially in, because like drawing, you still, for like the first 6 months, we've still sort of gotten some like projects and stuff, but with painting and printmaking, it's super open-ended, which is, at the start it's like, oh, I don't know, this is too much now, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's really good to sort of explore what you like actually want to be doing.
And the role of the teachers, how do you see their role at diploma level?
Mentors, like they're there to help, which is good.
Yeah, they are. We will. It's some people want to come straight into diploma. They've got this thing about doing diploma. We don't encourage you to do it unless you've done Cert 4, something like that, because it is quite different. In terms of you are, as Caitlin said, you need to be more self-motivated. You're getting ready to become your own artist. So that's a really important aspect of it, that you can start to manage your own time, manage your own projects, and you're working towards that exhibition at the end of the year as a real experience. The whole year is you are a real artist in diploma, is what I would say. Anything else? Anyone else want to expand on diploma?
Yeah, I think one of the really important things that I've seen is the sense of camaraderie that often happens at diploma level, because there is that open studio. A lot of students come in when they don't have other classes. You've got your own little space where you can set up your own sort of creative realm. People pin things up on the wall, they've got their easels up, but also there's a little common area. And I've seen often students leaving diploma, if they don't end up going to a tertiary institution for further study, setting up studio spaces together outside of the school. So people have gone to local spaces such as the Nicholas Building, or found warehouses to occupy and created their own little sort of creative environment, and they've looked to each other for support to recreate a place where they can have feedback and maybe have exhibitions together or open studios, support each other that way. So I think that's a really important part of diploma, is building relationships with other students and learning how to sort of take that to the next level.
Yeah. I mean, through our studies too, the students will be exposed to a lot of outside artists as well, and build networks that way as well. Networking is a really important part of it. If you're going to run your own business, you need to know how to network, and we'll help you with that. But also, by the end, hopefully Caitlin will feel this too, your strongest network is that diploma core group. Some of them you've been with them since Cert 3, but there's also some students who do come in directly at diploma, so don't be afraid if you think you're diploma ready and you haven't done Cert 3, Cert 4, will you be alone? No, you won't. We're a nice welcoming bunch. But yeah, that diploma group becomes a really strong network going forward in your career, and we see that over and over. Yes, Chris?
I'd like to agree with what Miller was saying, and also that we've got quite a few past students who are now got quite impressive careers and art practices, regularly exhibiting and being involved in all sorts of other activities, and continuing a kind of connection to past students as well. So it doesn't just stop at the end of diploma. There's you kind of build, as Miller was saying, you build networks, and they carry you through into the future. And I think that's really an important thing, because a lot of art making is solitary, and it can be very lonely unless you've got those connections once you leave art school.
Yeah, good. Lovely. And look, the nice thing too is we often get ex-students drop back in and come and have a chat, and that's always good to see. Yes, Mills?
Mute myself. I also wanted to say, I guess it hasn't really been strongly covered, but our cohort is very broad in terms of age and experience, and I really want to encourage people not to feel like either they're going to be surrounded by A, a lot of teenagers, or B, a lot of old people, or C, they haven't studied before, so it's really intimidating, or they've studied something completely different and this might not be at their level. So from my experience, we've had anything from neurosurgeons to people who've never studied and have been, let's say, homemakers or homekeepers, to people that are fresh out of high school, to people in between, people who've studied psychology or sport. It's just everywhere, and both genders, all genders in fact. And so I just want to say it's a really open cohort of people that come to our school to study, and everybody is welcome, and we try to keep the dialogue going. And I think people find their own dialogues and meet people they might not have met if they not come to that place, our place of study. So,
yeah,
I just think it was a really positive thing.
Our youngest student at the moment, I think, is 17, and our eldest student is in their late 70s. So that's the range we have, male, female, everything. We are the most mixed cohort, and that's a really common comment I get when people first start. They had no idea how diverse the cohort was. So there you go. It's a really nice thing. Any further expansion on diploma? All right, okay, well, let's move it along and have a bit more. This is something I did want to just draw back on. Visual arts, it's we do encourage you to become multidisciplined, so you're not stuck in one little area doing one particular style. We also get you to use both traditional and digital art skills. So yeah, you will use both in painting, in drawing, in sculpture, and also in printmaking, although we don't do much in printmaking, but we're moving towards more in that area as well. The other amazing thing is the small business skills that you will learn. We do start to really drum them into you. They're really important. Again, take them with you. Whatever you do in life, you'll have these basic business skills to take with you. We will teach you things like venue hire. Sustainability of a business is a really big part of what we do, keeping you sustainable. Project management, fantastic skill. We start teaching that in Cert 3, and by diploma, as Caitlin says, you're basically on your own, managing your project. Conceptual design is something that's really important as well, both with colleagues and clients. In some of your assessments, we will ask you to work towards a client, what a client may need. And we will also start to introduce elements of professional writing. It's not a writing course, but we will help you to create professional writing that is needed as an artist. So your artist statements, your resumes, things like that, promotional material for exhibitions will help you get all that set up. And really importantly, innovation. I would say we're really good at it. We really do encourage you to try new things and build skills in areas you didn't think you could do. And you take that feeling of confidence into other areas. It keeps going. Good. Anyone else want to expand on our skills for the future? Miller?
Well, I don't know. I've experienced a few different areas of like creative output in my own life, and I would say that what people get to experience at Boxel at our art course really can lead to a lot of different creative careers. So sculpture in and of itself can lead to theatre design, being prop making or set design. Sculpture, of course, designer maker stuff. So jewelry, sculpture is a very big part of contemporary jewelry, big part of, let's say, furniture and object design, product design. All those things can be really sort of drawn from the basic premise of sculpture. And then digital art, so we've got, again, animation, so gaming, where you create characters and environments, that comes under sculpture and digital art. Then photography is also a kind of digital art. Painting, you know, there's just so many, again, animation, graphic design, web design, film, all those things are really have a real sort of foundation in the visual arts. So yeah, I just thought I'd say that, like, it isn't just about becoming a painter or a sculptor or a printmaker. It's a huge thing. And as an artist, you can be multidisciplinary, and you can be someone that has, say, a contemporary traditional art practice where you show in galleries, but you can also be commissioned to do works in the public realm. You can be commissioned to work with makers in theatre, makers in film, or collaborate. So it's really about how you network or what opportunities you pursue, but it is a foundation course for a lot of creative industries. I thought that's a really important thing to let people know.
Yeah. Chris, did you have something you want?
Well, actually, Miller's kind of said it now. I completely agree with what Miller's saying. I think it's long gone the idea that you are just a painter or just a printmaker or just a sculptor. And really, as an artist, you have ideas and knowledge, and you get to choose what medium. You might make films, you might do all the things that Miller's been describing. So I think hopefully the course that we're doing introduces you to enough of those that you have at least basic skills that you can then go on to extend, because I think contemporary artists are moving across a whole range of materials, techniques, etc. And flexibility, I think, is the number one thing to learn.
Yeah, very flexible. Caitlin, what's your plans for when you finish your diploma?
Well, it's still 6 months away, so a lot can like change in that time. But I don't know. I think I want to sort of try practicing like art, like just on my own, see what I can do for a bit. And I definitely want to end up doing further study, but I don't know what necessarily that would be in, because like you're saying, like there's so many avenues, and like there's like film or photography or like doing art, and there's just like, I don't know, I'm keeping it open-ended, but yeah.
Do you feel like you'll be, are you comfortable to step out next year if you feel like that's what you want to do? Do you feel like you've got enough of a knowledge base and skill base to step out?
I think so. I think yeah, I'm like, there's still 6 months of the course which I need. I'm very like looking forward to learning more. But I think by the end of it I'll be super ready.
Yeah, good. Just, I'm not lying here, but I've had quite a few students who've gone on to further studies with their arts and have come back to me and said they're in there with others who haven't done any TAFE visual arts studies, and they have remarked how far ahead of the game they are in terms of they've just got a really strong skill set when they start their further studies, which is really nice to hear, that they feel incredibly ready, and actually feel a bit sorry for the others who didn't do the TAFE pathway with their visual arts. So that's been quite a recurring theme that is coming through all the time. But actually, and our next thing, we were actually going to interview Caitlin about her experience, but we kind of changed the format, as you do, a few seconds before the presentation. In terms of we've done it already. Oh, there was a beautiful picture of Caitlin's work somewhere, but anyway, we'll find that soon. Just one thing also I want to talk about too is the sort of support you do get when you're a student with Boxel Institute. And look, how much support do you get? Oh, look, there's heaps. We're a fairly small college, so I feel we are pretty good at knowing what's going on with each of our students. First port of call is your teacher as well. If there's an issue, the teacher's often the first one to sort of suspect you may need a bit of support, and then they'll tend to refer to me, and then I'll help you from there, or I'll know. But we also have, so you often get all the support you need, normally just at those levels, teacher and coordinator. We're pretty tight in that respect. Again, we're quite a small team ourselves, so we're all fairly connected and aware of what's going on. We also have a really good area called Student Life, which is free counselling to any student at Boxel Institute. So it's a fantastic service. We have wellbeing officers, so if you just have a little issue you're not too sure about, need a bit of help with your academic side of things, or you can't manage your time for the live view, which is very common, Student Life can help with that. And they can also, if you're getting very overwhelmed and maybe you need a bit more help, they can organise that for you as well. We also have LN advisors or support workers, and if you have troubles with writing, now that's something people say, how much writing do I have to do in this visual arts course? There is a little bit, and the further you go, the more you get. And that's the nature of an accredited course, that you do actually have to do some writing. Now, we understand that for some people who love their visual arts, writing is not something they feel comfortable with, and that's fine. One, I have a writing background, I'll help you. Your teachers, they will help you. But we have these other people called literacy and numeracy support people, and they can assist as well, and they do. You can make one-on-one appointments with them, you can meet with them weekly, and off you go. IT is increasingly becoming an important part of delivery, so we do have quite a good support network for IT. It's just a phone call away, and they can help you with any IT issues. Our library staff as well, we have, it's a little library in the city, we have a little library, but it has a fantastic art area. We also have a massive library in the Melbourne City Library, is just there as well. It's not our library, but you'll become a member, you can use that. And Boxel has its biggest library at the Alba campus. So being in the city campus, you can still go use all the facilities at any of our campuses. So they're open to all students. Alrighty, yes, Mills.
You can also order books from the database and they can be delivered to the campus across to sort
Oh
of,
yeah, good point. Good point.
so you don't have to go to Boxel to get the book.
Thanks, Bills. Alrighty. Any other questions about anything? I love that drawing. It's from our little friend Sandra. Recently finished. Any other questions about anything? No? No? Oh, right. I mean, some of the questions that we've had, people asking how much time is required outside of class for study, and that's something we talked about before. Look, roughly, it's about, 2/3 on campus, 1/3 off of workload is probably the best way to think about it. So, you know, an hour or so per subject. Do you think that's fair, Caitlin? Yeah, it's about right, isn't it? We try, we understand that, you know, sometimes you haven't got much studio space at home. Art does require a bit of space and a dedicated space if you want to do it as best you can. And sometimes that might mean you've only got the kitchen table at home, which is not perfect. And the further you go, diploma, yes, you are required to do a bit more in your own time, but that's why you also get the studio space on campus to do that, because we understand that you can't necessarily do it at home. We also don't want you doing a lot of the work at home because there could be health and safety issues, particularly like oil painting or printmaking or sculpting with tools. So yes, it's always a bit prone. All right, so that's one of the main questions we have. How many days a week? Well, that depends. Again, it's 2 days Cert 3, it's 3 days Cert 4 and diploma. So it's, when we say full time, it doesn't mean 5 days a week. But if you are doing diploma full time, it really is 5 days a week in terms of you will be working on those other days as well, just to keep up with it. And that's about it that we've got. Anything else people would like to expand upon? No? I think Chris is about to say something. No, we're done.
I was going to say that if we haven't answered all the questions, I'm sure there'll be an opportunity for people to speak to you, Ingrid, about any details that we haven't covered.
Yeah.
Because that might come to them at another time.
Yeah, it will. It will. And actually, I didn't actually put you can call me directly if you want to ask about visual arts. That number it's not on the screen, but I'll tell you now. 9286 9776. That's 9286 9776. So you can call me. I do answer, and if I don't, I will call you back. So leave a message. Don't just hang up. And I will call you back. Alrighty. Well, the next thing is, how do you apply? Alrighty. So have we got a little video on how to apply? And my person behind the scenes. Beautiful. Oh, there we all are. So to apply for visual arts. Alrighty, we'll just wait what's going on. To apply for visual arts, just go online to the Boxel Institute website. If you just Google Boxel Institute, and I think they're going to play a video. If not, okay.
Ready to apply at Boxel Institute? The first step is to contact us by calling 1300 Box Hill, submitting an inquiry through our website or via live chat. We're here to answer all your questions and ensure we find a course that's right for you. We will email you an application pack, which will include a link to start your application. The application will take about 30 minutes to complete and submit. Make sure you have your ID and your proof of residency handy, such as your Medicare card or your passport, as you'll need to upload a photo of this to your application. As part of the application pack, you may be required to complete a language literacy numeracy profile. This is to ensure that you meet the entry requirements into the course and for us to support you in your studies. The profile will take you around 90 minutes and must be completed in one sitting. The other one is a pre-training review document, which will ask you questions about your interests, your aspirations, your career goals, and your prior study. Once completed, you will need to upload both documents to your online application. Depending on the course that you're applying for, you may be required to submit extra documents, such as a subject selection form, a workplace declaration form, or an under 18 parent/guardian consent form. You may also be required to watch an online information session as part of your course. This will be discussed with you when you inquire. Once your application has been submitted, you may be required to attend an interview or an audition remotely. We will contact you if you're required to do this. After this, our team will be in touch to book an appointment to finalise your application. This appointment will be conducted over the phone, where we will run you through the pre-training review. This will include timetable information, fees and student support. Once we have finalised your application, we will email you a conditional letter of offer. You'll need to follow the steps to accept your offer online. To finalise your enrolment, you'll need to make payment. There are several ways to do this, such as a payment plan or VET student loan. We look forward to welcoming you to Boxel Institute.